These are heads of national drug law enforcement agencies from countries. They gathered yet for the 31st meeting of heads of national drug law enforcement agencies in Africa at the Abuja Continental Hotel, Abuja. Declaring the meeting open, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu urged head of national drug law enforcement agencies Africa to prioritize prevention, education, and rehabilitation to empower youth with knowledge and opportunities.
Everything you know is in your mind.
The president, who was ably represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, said, "We must steer them away from the treacherous parts of drug abuse and trafficking and protect our economy from the consequences of their actions."
Without you as gatekeepers of healthy nations, humanity as we know it will have long been perverted. So on behalf of the world, I say thank you. Thank you to you all who have kept us from being polluted and destroyed. For all the commitment to fight against drug trafficking and substance abuse is not just a matter of policy, it is a moral imperative. We recognize that the population at war with drugs is not a dividend but a liability. We believe that the future of our youth, the strength of our institutions, and the well-being of our communities depend on our ability to eradicate this threat. So I must appeal to you to see this gathering as an avenue for the exchange of novel ideas and the development of practical strategies. We must consolidate established contacts, operational partnerships, and cooperation to ensure that the outcomes of these 4 days of deliberation will advance public safety and the emergence of drug-free African communities. Our strength has always been our proactive actions to prevent any individual or group from turning our countries into a minefield of drug trafficking. So we must prioritize prevention, education, and rehabilitation to empower our youth with knowledge and opportunities. We must steer them away from the treacherous path of drug abuse and trafficking and protect our economy from the consequences of their actions.
The president also expressed his administration's commitment to the country's fight against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking as part of efforts to curtail the global drug problem, even as he assured he will continue to provide necessary support and tools for the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) to fulfill its mandates. In his remarks, the chairman NDLEA charged his counterparts across the continent to strengthen operational networks and raise the bar in the drug war.
This is where HONLAF comes in. The meeting is very important as it enables its parent body, the UN Commission on Narcotic Drugs, to learn about current regional drug trends, threats, and emerging challenges from practitioners and law enforcement experts from all parts of the continent. We need regional perspectives to enrich the global policy discussion. And HONLAF is the opportunity to bring the African perspective to the global level. The sessions provide a platform to share knowledge and practices and learn from each other. We will discuss important topics for the region, such as drug trafficking trends, reducing illicit cultivation and production of drugs, including alternative development, financial investigations in drug trafficking cases, measures to counter the illicit manufacturing and diversion of precursor chemicals, as well as the link between drugs and the environment. The 31st meeting will indeed provide an opportunity for us to raise the bar and break new grounds in different areas of our operations and collaborative efforts. I am as excited as a lot of us in this hall are to make presentations, listen to others, and share experiences that will positively shape our operations and redefine our cooperation at the end of this conference.
Also, in his remarks at the ceremony, Attorney General Federation and Minister of Justice, represented by the Director, International Criminal Justice Corporation, Federal Ministry of Justice, said it is imperative that this conference remain proactive in addressing the legal complexity that may impede seamless cooperation in intelligence sharing, joint operations, and training.
The Federal Ministry of Justice stands committed to providing unwavering support and efficient systems to empower NDLEA in its mission. Over the past 2 years, NDLEA has forged numerous meaningful memoranda of understanding within Africa and beyond. Through these efforts, we have strengthened our ability to disrupt drug trafficking networks by collaborating within the framework of international law and our domestic legislations, as well as those of our partners.
Also speaking at the event, country representative of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime said the drug problem has changed from what it used to be 20 years ago.
We need to invest in prevention and in treatment, and we need alternatives to imprisonment for drug users that are more effective and help decongesting prisons. At the same time, we need to strengthen cooperation between countries along drug trafficking routes, with the aim of dismantling the ever more sophisticated trafficking networks. UNODC remains a strong partner in this effort. With a field office network covering 40 countries across the continent and several global programs connecting African countries with their partners along the drug trafficking routes in the Americas, Asia, and Europe, we continue to provide technical assistance in policy making and strategic planning, capacity building, technology, forensics, and innovation, research and data analysis, as well as facilitating international cooperation at policy and operational levels.
With cultivation and production of cocaine having reached unprecedented highs, demanding for illicit drugs is also growing, especially among young people. Opioids continue to kill while the development of synthetic drugs is rising at an alarming pace. This problem is further exacerbated by the increased use of internet in drug transactions. And let's not forget, the illicit drugs market has a negative impact on the environment and climate change, affecting the bigger picture of the Sustainable Development Goals. To counter these and other drug-related challenges, intelligence sharing and cross-border law enforcement cooperation are key. The HONLAF meetings provide an excellent venue for this exchange at the regional level. This week, you will discuss aspects of the world drug problem that include drug control through alternative development, financial investigations in drug trafficking cases, countering the illicit manufacturing and diversion of the precursor chemicals, and links between drugs and environment.
And to find ways of addressing them. This comes at a pivotal time for international drug policy. Next year, the Commission on Narcotic Drugs will hold a midterm review of all international drug policy commitments set forth in the 2019 Ministerial Declaration. The recommendations you put forward will inform the midterm review by bringing regional issues and priorities to the attention of the Commission. I invite you to actively participate and share your perspectives in order to provide valuable inputs to support the Commission's efforts. UNODC, as always, stands ready to support you. Thank you.
The high point of the ceremony was the presentation of a report on organized crime in Nigeria, a threat assessment produced by the National Institute for Security Studies in collaboration with security agencies and supported by the UNODC.
A phenomenon limited to Nigeria, but Nigerian courts have now come under the radar of law enforcement in various countries, notably in Europe. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, for more than 3 decades, Nigeria has made considerable effort to adopt specialized law and institutions to tackle organized crime. Our host today, National Drug Law Enforcement Agencies, was the first of its kind to be created on the African continent. This initiative has produced a considerable wealth of experience and best practices, as well as impressive operational results. But despite Nigeria's efforts, as our study demonstrates, organized crime continues to thrive and to threaten the people, the economy, environment, and the corporate existence. Organized crime fuels political instability, threatens economic activity, discourages domestic and foreign investment, and diverts resources and attention away from key sectors such as education, health, and infrastructure. The concerted effort by all must be focused on recognizing organized crime as a critical national security threat, both tactical and strategic campaign against it.
The NDLEA hosting the 31st HONLAF meeting here is to reassure Nigerians of the NDLEA promise to participate in building a world not threatened by the infiltration of illicit drugs. Olayemi Eson, for Spy TV.